Gentleman yields back. We now recognize the ranking member of the full committee, Mr. Raskin again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If Paramount were to acquire Warner Brothers, it would put CNN under the same ownership as CBS. And when the Ellisons, who own Skydance, were seeking to acquire Paramount, they made Trump-friendly changes in the newsroom, including installing an ombudsman, which news staff referred to as a hall monitor for them. And so we can only assume the same kind of fate for CNN. Mr. Wood, when there is consolidation in the news media, how does this affect the freedom of speech and expression and the marketplace for ideas generally, and specifically in the Trump period, given the very specific phenomena that have arisen in terms of the review process?
Yes, thank you for the question, Ranking Member Raskin. I think your question lays it out well, and there really are two distinct threats at least. One is, just typically speaking, when you have fewer competing voices, you have fewer people working to get stories, you have fewer risk takers. So reduction of competition reduces the number of opportunities to even tell different stories. But in this administration, we've seen not just consolidation writ large as a problem, it's the merger process itself being used, as you detailed so well, as a carrot. And basically saying, if you don't agree to change your news coverage, then we won't approve your deal. And that's the kind of thing that should be completely out of bounds, but has happened very often with this administration.
What's happening at CBS News under the new management?
Well, you know, I'm not a media critic, but I can certainly see what's happening. And I know even yesterday there were concerns about the evening news and how it was being used to praise the administration rather than to potentially criticize its actions. And so, you know, it's the litany of changes that you discussed, the pulling of the story from 60 Minutes, all the changes to the evening news and the way that they are seemingly looking for administration approval of their news rather than reporting on the government, as I think any journalist would want to do.
Well, I'm really a stranger to antitrust law. I never taught it. I never even took it. So I'm going to be reading some books on it this year in anticipation of maybe a change in our political fortunes in the new Congress. Is there anything within antitrust law which considers the specific First Amendment implications with respect to media mergers that makes it a different kind of analysis from other business antitrust analysis?
I mean, I wouldn't say I would want to look that up myself. I did take it, but it was a while ago now, and I've done a lot of it in my
Dr.
career.
Yoon, you might know.
Yeah.
It's a great question. Yeah. I would say that generally speaking, court precedents would say no, they wouldn't examine that.
It's just treated the same way.
It would be, it's output, prices, and innovation, and First Amendment issues would fall.
Okay, I'd like to ask all of our witnesses, does everybody agree that federal antitrust agencies should be subject to intensive congressional oversight? Starting, Dr. Wood, with you.
Yes.
Dr. Yoon, do you agree with that?
It seems quite reasonable.
Yeah. Ms. Mellish?
Yes.
Yes. And Dr. Ezra?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So when I raised the question of whether corruption was interfering with proper antitrust law analysis, I was chided by one of my colleagues for ranging far afield from the subject. If corruption has actually entered, and perhaps some people can never see corruption when it comes to Donald Trump, but so set him aside for a second. If corruption actually entered the antitrust review process through money corruption or political influence, would that be a problem? And again, I'd like to maybe ask each of you. Yeah, Mr. Wood.
I mean, it would definitely be a problem. I wouldn't be naive and think that political influence has never played a role before, but what we're seeing so extraordinary in this administration is the openness of it and the use of antitrust and merger review, or I would say the misuse, to wring out conditions from companies who want approval of their deals.
Yes, Dr. Yoon, do you agree?
Yes, I was at the agency 18 years. I think I'm an antitrust purist. I think it should be based off of the staff there and their recommendations.
So it's an economic analysis. It's not a question of whether you can mobilize this lobbyist or this political force to your side.
Absolutely.
Ms. Melligan.
Yeah, I'd agree. This should be matters of traditional laws established in a bipartisan way over the last 40 years, the consumer welfare standard and economic analysis, no matter who is installed in the any given administration.
And Dr. Ezra.
Yeah, I'm against corruption in agencies.
All right. Mr. Wood, let me come back to you. Antitrust law did start with the idea of both benefiting the consumers but also benefiting society by having competitive forces. Would you just say a word about what consolidation means generally for a free society?
Well, your question about antitrust and First Amendment concerns, I think, is obviously valid and important in the media context. And so there's a marketplace of ideas that has shrunk in two. And so I agree with my colleagues. The market questions are the paramount question, although I shouldn't say paramount in this case. But, that we have to be certainly cognizant of the impacts on our civic information and democracy being impacted by the loss of that source of information.
Gentleman's time has expired. Now recognize the gentleman